Thank you for being here. Iconic American country and gospel quartet, the Oak Ridge Boys. Guess what? They're celebrating the 40th anniversary of their hit tune, Elvira. So with me right now to chat about the anniversary, what are they up to now? I may ask him some personal questions. We'll see. Oak Ridge Boys bass singer Richard Sterban. Good morning to you, Richard.
Well, Jenny, good morning to you. It's certainly a pleasure for me to be able to talk to you and all your fine viewers out there.
Well, first of all, do you prefer to be called Richard? Can I call you Richie?
I think Richard is good.
Okay.
Most people call me Richard. Yeah.
He's like, please, dear, call me Richard. Wow. That voice, my goodness, it is still as strong as ever, huh?
Well, you know, I jokingly tell people quite often when they comment on my voice that if it wasn't for this voice, I would have to get a real job. I'd have to work for a living.
Man, you could be in radio or in television for sure if you weren't, you know, part of a popular band.
Believe it or not, I've dabbled in voiceovers in the past, so that's, you know, that's an option I have.
Okay, let's talk about the Oak Ridge Boys. First of all, what an accomplishment for the four of you guys to be together so many years. I mean, tell us a quick backstory.
Well, you know, I don't think there's a group in the music business that has a longer history or more fascinating history than the Oak Ridge Boys, and it dates back to the Second World War, believe it or not. There was a group, believe it or not, known as the Georgia Clodhoppers, and they would actually go to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and they would entertain the people there that were working on the development of the atomic bomb. It was called the Manhattan Project. Yeah. And as a result of going to Oak Ridge, they changed their name from the Georgia Clodhoppers to the Oak Ridge Quartet. And they sang through to the 50s, and then in the latter 50s, the group was disbanded and reorganized, and the name Oak Ridge Boys was adopted. William Lee Golden, the guy in our group with the long beard, he was the first one to join in 1965. Dwayne Allen, our lead singer, 1 year later in 66. I joined the Oak Ridge Boys in 1972. I actually was singing with Elvis, believe it or not. I left Elvis to join the Oak Ridge Boys. And 1 year later, Joe Bonzo came. So this combination has been together for almost 50 years. Some of the guys even longer than 50 years.
Richard, I have so many questions. First of all, yes, you had that iconic performance. What was it, right, at Madison Square Garden with Elvis? Is that correct?
Well, that's true. You know, it was actually a double album set. Elvis live from Madison Square Garden, and I happened to be in the band, and I sang on that record. And you know, it's kind of crazy. Every now and then I get a little check in the mailbox. That record is still selling.
Wow.
Over 50.
Oh my God. Richard, how does one walk away from Elvis? How did that come to be? And how did the group come together? Did you guys audition? Did you know each other prior to coming together?
Well, I think it was a matter of each man being in the right place at the right time when there was a membership change. That's kind of how it happened, you know, because we all joined at different times. And you know, like I say, it's been over 50 years, and I don't think anybody has a history like we do.
No, I don't think most marriages have a shelf life like you guys have. So on that note, what is the secret to staying together so long?
Well, you know, I talked about our history. I think that's important to us. But I think we have a special relationship, you know, between the four of us. Each man in our group is different. Each man brings something different to the table. And I think that's part of our appeal. And I think we learned to respect that difference between the four of us many years ago. And we became really good friends. And I think we realized a long time ago that we need each other. So we pulled together as a team. We're a true brotherhood. And I think that special relationship that exists between the four of us really is very key to our longevity. You know, I think we get along better now than we did when we were younger. I think we're too old now to let little things bother us.
Richard, I think you should do some sort of like a love and relationship podcast, because people struggle just holding one other person accountable in their life, but you have three others that you've, you know, made such a lasting friendship with.
very sincerely, we are the best of friends. We actually like each other. We do.
Richard, I have to ask, you guys have been together a long time. During those times come changes. I don't know, maybe your voice cracked here and there. But how do you guys deal with the changes?
Well, you just have to do the best. There's an advantage to being in a group. If one guy is having a little difficult night, the other guys can kind of pick up the slack. And that's the way I told you, we're a true team. We pull together, and that's the way we get through it, by helping each other out.
Okay, so let's talk about you guys are celebrating the 40th anniversary of Elvira. You guys have a new album coming out as well?
We have, in fact, it's been out for a short time now. It's called Front Porch Singing, and it's produced by Dave Cobb. And if that name rings a bell at all, Dave Cobb is one of the hottest guys, the hottest producers here in Nashville. And he's produced 4 projects on the Oak Ridge Boys now, including Front Porch Singing. And we actually recorded the album during the pandemic. Everything was shut down here in Nashville, including the recording studios. But then things started to open up. And Dave Cobb got in touch with us, and he said, fellas, I think we can work now. And he works out of RCA Studio A, which is probably the most historic recording studio here in Nashville. And we had to abide by the protocols, but we were able to record this album. And he said what he wanted to do was he wanted to create the feeling of 4 guys just kind of gathering on a front porch and just singing in a very informal way, very little structure to it. And we were able to capture that. We got some old familiar songs that people will recognize on the album. Dave Cobb, being as hot as he is, he has a rapport with some of the hot new songwriters here in Nashville. They wrote some new songs, so it's a nice mixture. It's a nice balance. And when we come your way, along with Elvira and all of our hits, that we're going to perform, we're going to do some of the new music from this new album because it's very meaningful music, and I think it's the kind of music people need to hear right now.
We only have about a minute left here, but I did want to ask: is there a song that kind of resonates with you the most, or is there a song that you kind of dislike performing?
Well, naturally you want to say Elvira, of course, and one of the fun things for me every night was when I get to the giddy up, papa, mau part, to look out in the audience and watch all the men trying to sing along with me. That's always a lot of fun. But then there's one other song. Let me just mention. Yeah. We have a song called "Thank God for Kids," which I think is probably one of the most meaningful songs we've ever recorded. Oh, wow. William A. Golden. He's the guy in our group with the long beard. Yeah. He does such a great job of communicating that lyric to the audience. And you can tell when you look out in the audience every night when we're doing that song, it is touching people, it's moving people. So it is a highlight of an Oak Ridge Boys show. Okay, we do have to wrap, but you guys have a show coming up here in San Diego, correct? Sequan? That's correct. And I can speak for all the Oak Ridge Boys. We were shut down during the pandemic. We couldn't do what it is that we love doing, but we're back doing it again. And I can tell you, when you see us there, you're going to see 4 guys that are be chomping at the bits to get out there and do our best and make it a great night. Yes. And no end in sight, right? The band's going to keep going. We do not plan to retire. I may look like I need to retire, but we're not going to do it. No, you don't, sir. Oh my gosh, you were such a pleasure to chat with. I could keep talking with you, but unfortunately, we must move on. You can probably tell I could keep talking too. All right, again, so that show coming up over in Sequan, we just had that graphic up. Richard Sterban, Oak Ridge Boys, February 20th, 7 p.m., Sequan Resort Casino. Thank you so much for all your time this morning. Thank you, Jenny. Yep, and congrats on all your successes. Much more to come. And speaking of much more to come,